Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're putting on our microscopic detective hats to uncover the hidden science sitting right there on our dinner plates. Have you actually looked down at your food and wondered what it's really doing once you take a bite? We're going to move way past the flavors and recipes to explore the microscopic building blocks that literally keep us alive. Let's dive into this incredibly fascinating question that kicks off our whole investigation. If you travel from the north of India down to the south, the menus completely change. The colors, the spices, the staple grains, everything shifts. But despite this massive culinary diversity, the fundamental biological job those meals perform remains absolutely identical. How is that even possible? Well, here's our menu for today's explainer to figure that out. We'll be covering 1. Anatomy of a meal, 2. Testing for nutrients, 3. Fueling the body, 4. The unsung heroes, and finally 5. The balanced diet. All right, let's jump straight into section 1, Anatomy of a meal, deconstructing the plate. It's actually mind-blowing when you think about how different regions use completely different ingredients to achieve the exact same nutritional goals. For example, in a classic meal from Punjab, you've got maki roti as your grain, rajma for the dal or meat component, and sarson saag as your vegetable. Now, compare that to a meal from Andhra Pradesh. The grain shifts over to rice, the dal becomes tur dal with rasam, and the vegetable might be kunduru. They look and taste worlds apart, but mechanically, they are delivering the exact same categories of fuel to the human body. There is this brilliant underlying blueprint to all our meals. And that blueprint is entirely built on nutrients. No matter what dish you're eating, the universal suspects we're hunting for are called nutrients. These are the vital chemical components found in food that your body desperately needs to function, grow, and repair itself. The major players we're talking about are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. Think of them like the different types of building materials and fuel required to keep the incredibly complex machine of your body running smoothly. But how do we actually know they're hiding in our food? You can't exactly spot a carbohydrate with the naked eye. So let's move to section 2, testing for nutrients, the lab investigation. Let's start with carbohydrates, specifically starch. Finding starch, which is our primary energy source, is all about looking for a very specific chemical reaction. You just take a raw ingredient, add 2 to 3 drops of a dilute iodine solution, and wait. If that food suddenly turns a deep blue-black color, boom, you've just found starch. It's basically a simple chemistry trick that anyone can do. Just dropping a tiny bit of iodine right onto a slice of raw potato instantly triggers that unmistakable blue-black reaction. It is a quick, completely undeniable visual confirmation of invisible energy hiding right there in the vegetable. Now, hunting down proteins takes a little bit more procedural logic. You can't just drop a chemical onto solid food and hope for the best. First, you've got to mash or grind the food into a paste, put it in a test tube, and add a little water to mix it up. Then comes the chemistry. You add 2 drops of copper sulfate solution, followed by 10 drops of caustic soda. If you've done it correctly and protein is present, you'll see a very specific violet hue start to appear. You do have to be a little patient, though. After mixing in the copper sulfate and caustic soda, you shake it up and let it sit for a few minutes to let that violet color fully develop. But seeing that liquid turn violet means you've successfully unmasked the body's primary building blocks. Testing for fats, on the other hand, is literally the easiest method of the bunch. No chemicals needed whatsoever. You just take a small bit of food, wrap it in a piece of paper, and carefully crush it, making sure not to tear the paper. Unfold it and hold it up to the light. If you see a translucent, oily patch that lets light faintly pass through, you've found fat. Just make sure to let any water from the food dry first. If the patch is still there after the water dries, you know for sure it's fat and not just moisture. All right, we've identified our chemical suspects, our starches, proteins, and fats. Let's move to section 3, fueling the body, energy, building, and protection, to see what they're actually doing inside us. So, fats and carbohydrates are our primary energy givers. And here's a pretty wild fact. Fats actually give us way more energy than the exact same amount of carbohydrates. We harvest these potent fuels from 2 distinct kingdoms. You've got plant sources like sunflower oil, coconut oil, almonds, and groundnuts. And then you've got rich animal sources like ghee, milk, butter, and fish. Both deliver that heavy-duty energy we need to power through our day. Next up, we have our body-building foods, proteins. When you scrape your knee or when a kid seemingly grows an inch over the summer, proteins are the microscopic workers making that growth and repair happen. And again, nature gives us plenty of options. You can get them from plant pulses like moong, tur dal, and peas, or you can go for animal products like eggs, paneer, and meat.
But all that energy and all those building blocks aren't going to do much good if the machine keeps breaking down. We need protectors. Vitamins and minerals are needed in much smaller quantities, but their jobs are absolutely massive. Vitamin A is like a shield for your skin and eyes. Vitamin C is basically your immune system's general, fighting off diseases. Vitamin D acts like a key that unlocks your body's ability to use calcium for strong bones and teeth. And honestly, the coolest part, our bodies can manufacture vitamin D completely on their own just from exposure to sunlight.
To get the full picture, let's head into Section 4, the unsung heroes, fibers and water. I call these two the unsung heroes because neither dietary fiber, also known as roughage, nor water actually give you any traditional energy or nutrients. But without them, the entire system crashes. Roughage, which we get from whole grains, pulses, and fresh fruits, basically adds bulk to our food, helping our bodies smoothly get rid of undigested waste. And water? Water is the great transporter. It helps us actually absorb all the amazing nutrients we just talked about, and then it acts as the cleanup crew, throwing out waste as urine and sweat. Without roughage and water, all those great nutrients would just be stuck. Equipped with all this microscopic knowledge, we are finally ready for Section 5, the balanced diet, putting it all together. A balanced diet really isn't some impossible magic trick. It's just a simple engineering equation for your body. It's all about getting exactly what you need in the right proportions based on your physical activity. Like, if you do heavy manual labor, your energy needs from carbs and fats are going to be way higher than someone sitting at a desk all day. It's about not having too much of one thing, not too little of another, and always remembering to invite our unsung heroes, roughage and water, to the party. I absolutely love this next point from our source material because it totally shatters a massive modern myth. There is this huge misconception out there that eating a healthy, balanced diet means you have to buy expensive, exotic ingredients or spend a fortune at specialty health food stores. The science tells us this is categorically false. Everyday, incredibly affordable items are absolute nutritional powerhouses, hiding right in plain sight. We're talking about things like sprouted seeds, Mungan Bengal gram, or fermented foods like South Indian idlis. Simple combinations of regular flours, bananas, spinach, sattu, and jaggery. These highly accessible, inexpensive foods provide a wonderfully complex, complete matrix of nutrients. It proves, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that incredible health is completely available on a budget. Before we go, I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought to wrap up this explainer. Eating the right food isn't enough. How you treat it matters just as much. Did you know that some nutrients are incredibly fragile? Vitamin C, for instance, gets easily destroyed by heat during cooking. If you overboil your vegetables, you might literally be throwing all those disease-fighting nutrients out with the bathwater. It really makes you realize why incorporating raw fruits and fresh vegetables into your diet isn't just a fun suggestion, it's a scientific necessity. So the next time you look down at your dinner plate, remember, you are not just looking at a meal. You are looking at a masterclass in biology. Keep questioning what's on your plate, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.